The Roman machine. The legion's secret to peak performance. The power of structure. Hey there, I want you to close your eyes for a moment and picture a Roman legion on the march. What do you see? Most people visualize 47,000 soldiers, an unstoppable force that dominated the ancient world for over 500 years. But what I see, as a performance archaeologist, is completely different. It's not the raw strength of individual warriors. It is a mastery of organization that is simultaneously a lost secret and a blueprint for modern peak performance. Rome's secret wasn't in the individual strength of its legionnaires. It was in the system that transformed ordinary men, farmers, craftsmen, merchants into an unstoppable war machine. Roman discipline transcended the battlefield completely. Training wasn't just for war, it was a complete life system. And that's the most powerful lesson we can unearth from the ruins of time. We live in an era that obsessively glorifies individual talent. The lone genius, the entrepreneur who builds an empire single-handedly. But Rome invites us to understand a brutal truth that goes against everything modern culture preaches. True power lies in meticulous organization, not personal brilliance. A legionnaire's discipline had a revolutionary characteristic. It wasn't for personal benefit. It was completely focused on the collective. He understood something that few modern leaders grasp: his perfect execution, his discipline of marching in flawless formation, of fighting as an extension of the group, was exactly what guaranteed victory for everyone. It wasn't individual heroism, it was systemic genius. The Roman mindset was radically anti-individualistic. It was built on shared purpose. Their focus wasn't on immediate pleasure, instant rewards, or personal recognition. It was fixed on a future they would probably never see with their own eyes. They built roads that would last 1,000 years. They built aqueducts for future generations. They built for eternity, not for instant gratification. Here is the crucial difference that separates mediocrity from greatness. Peak performance based on solid organization is infinitely stronger, more resilient, and more lasting than any individual talent, no matter how brilliant. Why? Because Roman discipline was forged in the complete acceptance of impermanence, of the absolute fragility of human life. This deep acceptance of mortality created a clarity of purpose that made them literally unstoppable. They didn't fight for money. Rome paid well, but that wasn't what drove them. They didn't fight for personal glory, though honor was valued. They fought for something infinitely more powerful: legacy. And this legacy-building mindset is 10 times more powerful than any motivation based on immediate rewards or personal recognition. Think about the most successful Americans in history: Washington, Lincoln, Edison, Jobs. None of them were just chasing quick wins. They were building something that would outlast them. They understood the Roman principle: true greatness comes from systems that transcend the individual. Today's action step: stop everything right now. Grab pen and paper. Don't type on your phone. Use your hands. Answer these 2 questions with complete honesty. What do I want to achieve in the next 12 months that will actually matter 10 years from now? And what are the 3 specific first steps I need to take this week to start building that? Don't rush your answers. Feel the real weight of these questions. They are the first stone in your pyramid of peak performance. Rome wasn't built in a day, but it started with the first brick laid with clear intention. The American dream isn't about getting rich quick or going viral on TikTok. It's about building something lasting, something that matters, something that creates value for others while fulfilling your potential. If the idea that meticulous organization is the true key to unshakable discipline resonates deeply with you, write "I get organized" in the comments right now. The power of standardization. If you allowed yourself those deep questions about real organization, you've already started walking the path of the Roman legion. But here's a truth that 90% of Americans completely ignore, and it could change your life in the next 90 days. Peak performance was never, is never, and will never be a solo act of individual genius. It's always the mathematical result of 3 elements: shared purpose that transcends personal interests, collective mindset that propels you beyond your individual limitations, and discipline that is forged, tested, and refined as a team, under real pressure. The Roman legionnaire didn't march alone through the empire's highways. He was a conscious piece of a larger system, an execution machine that transformed ordinary men into a force that literally changed the course of world history. They learned to fight as a single organism, to march in perfect sync, to build standardized camps on any terrain. The resilience they developed wasn't an individual attribute, it was collective, multiplied, systemic. It was the resilience of the entire cohort, the complete century, the empire as a whole. And that is our most powerful lesson for the modern world. When you multiply individual discipline by collective organization, the result isn't addition, it's exponential. Look at America's greatest achievements: the moon landing, the interstate highway system, Silicon Valley's tech revolution. None of these were solo victories. They were systematic triumphs where individual excellence was amplified through organized collaboration. In our journey as performance archaeologists, we've unearthed discipline codes from dozens of civilizations. Vikings, samurai, Spartans, Mongols all had powerful systems, but few are as deep, practical, and applicable as the meticulous structure of the Roman legion. They show us a revolutionary truth that goes against all the propaganda of modern entrepreneurship. Sustainable peak performance isn't about conquering things, accumulating wealth, or building personal empires. It's about building a purpose that completely transcends time. The Roman purpose went far beyond being an efficient warrior. It was being an active guardian of civilization, a legacy builder, a protector of something greater than their own ambitions, fears, or desires. This mindset difference is absolutely fundamental. A legionary's resilience had a solid foundation we can apply today. It wasn't forged in vague hope for a distant, uncertain future. It was built on the absolute certainty that their specific actions today, right now, were directly honoring their greater purpose and strengthening their community. They understood something profound that modern psychology is just beginning to scientifically prove. The fear of death isn't really about physical death itself. It's about the terrible possibility of an unlived life, wasted potential, a legacy never built. That's our greatest lesson for the age of constant digital distraction. This week's action step: get your physical notebook, not a note on your phone. Identify a specific fear that's paralyzing your growth right now. It could be fear of failing at an important project, fear of being judged for your ambitions, fear of not being good enough for the next level. Now do a powerful mental exercise. Imagine your complete legacy 20 years from now. Visualize that you've already built your pyramid of achievements and impact. Now answer this crucial question with total honesty. If my worst fear materialized tomorrow, could I still act in a way that completely honors my legacy purpose? Planning your resilience before the crisis hits is exactly what will give you supernatural strength to face it, or, better yet, prevent it from paralyzing you completely. This is what separates American winners from American quitters. Winners plan for adversity. They build systems. They think beyond themselves. If building a legacy that transcends your own existence makes deep sense to you, write unity in the comments now. The force of unity. What if I told you that 95% of what you believe about leadership and peak performance is completely wrong? That the entire modern narrative about individual success, lone genius, and heroic entrepreneurship is a dangerous lie that's sabotaging your true potential? Rome proved something that will shock you. The legionnaire was powerful not because of exceptional personal strength, but because of his systematic ability to multiply and amplify the strength of the entire group. They were an execution machine where each individual piece consciously empowered every other piece. They didn't compete against each other, they collaborated at a level our individualistic culture can't even comprehend. This goes against everything Silicon Valley preaches about disruption and unicorn founders. But look at America's most enduring successes. Companies like IBM, General Electric, and McDonald's weren't built by lone wolves. They were built by systematic excellence that outlasted their founders. Here's the military secret that literally changed world history. True discipline isn't measured by the number of personal victories, individual trophies, or solo achievements. It's measured by flawless, consistent execution of collective purpose, even when no one is watching, even when there's no immediate reward, even when it's difficult and uncomfortable. The legendary resilience of legionnaires was ent in the supernatural ability to never break that is Hollywood myth. It was in the systematic capacity to rebuild quickly, every day, in silence, without drama, always focused on the greater good of the group. It was silent discipline applied consistently. The lesson that 95% of modern leaders completely ignore. Many entrepreneurs today desperately seek to build personal legacies with billion-dollar companies, digital influence empires, massive public recognition. They spend decades chasing vanity metrics. But here is the question that should keep you awake at night. What really remains when the personal empire inevitably crumbles? From the Roman legion, which dominated the world for 5 centuries, what endured until today? Not the territorial conquests lost, not the accumulated wealth scattered, not the names of famous generals forgotten by most. What survived and still influences our civilization was the discipline, the systemic mindset, the organizational model. They left us a practical manual for peak performance that is completely timeless because it addresses fundamental human nature. Because the battle for personal leadership, individual discipline, and legacy building never goes out of style. It's never obsolete. It's never automated by technology. Look at American icons who built lasting legacies. Walt Disney didn't just create cartoons, he built a system for imagination. Henry Ford didn't just make cars, he revolutionized how we think about production. They understood the Roman principle: systems outlast individuals. Your real legacy won't be measured by what you manage to accumulate. It will be measured by the person you consciously transformed into during the process. The specific discipline you exercised when no one was looking, when there were no cameras, when there was no audience. The virtuous and difficult choices you made consistently in silence, sacrificing immediate gratifications for long-term character building. Your peak performance will be the living example you became. Your developed mental fortress that naturally inspires others to become competent emperors of their own minds, creators of their own destinies. An authentic leader's mindset isn't about achieving impossible perfection. It's about pursuing excellence consistently, every day, even when you don't feel like it, even when it's inconvenient, even when no one will know. The Roman structure teaches us that sustainable peak performance is a constant daily calling, a renewed invitation to unwavering focus, to resilience that strengthens with each test, to discipline that becomes more refined with each repetition. The legacy you'll build won't be based on temporary power over others. It will be built on applied wisdom, accumulated conscious decisions, daily silent discipline, life lived with clear purpose that transcends your immediate needs. And that's the real definition of peak performance. It's the development journey that literally never ends, because there's always a next level of excellence to be discovered and conquered. The vision of legacy. We started our journey with the powerful image of a Roman legion in disciplined march. Now, we arrive at the crucial point where your personal organization manifests as your greatest legacy to the world. A legionary's peak performance wasn't in his raw individual strength or exceptional personal skills, it was in his developed capacity to live a life with clear, unshakable purpose, even in the middle of total chaos. He teaches us a fundamental lesson that can transform your life. True discipline isn't measured by the number of victories you accumulate or the trophies you display. It's measured by the flawless, consistent execution of your greater purpose, especially when no one is paying attention. The Roman legion structure is historical proof of a profound truth. The greatest battle you'll fight in life isn't against external competitors, difficult markets, or adverse circumstances. It's fought daily inside your own mind, against your tendencies toward mediocrity, your inclinations toward comfort, your natural resistance to consistent discipline. The legendary resilience of a legionnaire wasn't in his mystical ability to never break that is romanticization. It was in his systematic skill to consciously rebuild himself, every day, in silence, without needing external motivation or public recognition. It was self-discipline applied as a system, not as a feeling. This is the American way at its finest: personal responsibility, systematic improvement, building something bigger than yourself. Our founding fathers understood this Roman principle. They built a system of government designed to outlast any individual leader. Many modern leaders ask the wrong question. They ask, how can I build a legacy through billion-dollar companies, digital influence empires, or massive recognition? But that's the trap. The right question, the one Romans asked, is, what kind of person do I need to become to leave a legacy that truly matters? Because, here's the truth few understand. What remains of an empire when it inevitably crumbles? The only thing that endured from the Roman legion, after 1,500 years, was its mental discipline, systemic mindset, commitment to excellence. They left us a practical manual for peak performance that is completely timeless. Because the battle for personal leadership never goes out of style. Your authentic legacy won't be measured by what you manage to accumulate in bank accounts, social media followers, or public recognition. It will be measured by the person you consciously transformed into during the building process. The specific discipline you exercised when no one was looking, when there were no cameras, when the only judge was your conscience. The virtuous and difficult choices you made consistently, sacrificing immediate pleasures for building solid character. Your peak performance will be the living, tangible example you became, your developed mental fortress that naturally inspires others to become competent emperors of their own lives. Think about the Americans who inspire you most. They're not remembered for what they owned, but for who they became and what they built for others. That's the Roman legacy principle in action. Final commitment. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine a specific point in the future 10 years from now where you are living at the absolute peak of your personal performance. You've developed the discipline, clarity, and focus you always wanted. Now, from that future version of yourself, what would you say to the person you are today, who's starting this transformation journey? Write that specific message in your physical journal. Read it every morning. It will be your emotional anchor, your practical guide, your personal legacy calling you to the deepest purpose of your existence. Our expedition through Marcus Aurelius's principles gave us a revolutionary perspective on true leadership. The ancient discipline of the samurai showed us the transformative power of conscious legacy, but our journey as success archaeologists is just beginning to reveal its most powerful secrets. If you're genuinely ready to start your own dynasty of long-term vision, write "My Legacy" in the comments now.